gi drokun namdak shingla drupa sho Niram Guru Ratna Mandala Kam Niryatayami Sangye Tunang Soki Chognam La Jangchu Bardu Dagni Kyapsu Chi Daki Chunyen Gi Pe Sonam Gi Drola Pinchir Sangye Drupar Chok Sangye Churang Soki Chotnam La Janju Badu Dagni Gyapsu Chi Daki Chunyen Gi Pe Sonam Ki Drola Pinchir Sangye Drupar Chok Sangye Churang Soki Chotnam La Janju Badu Dagni Gyapsu Chi Daki Chunyen Gi Pe Sonam Ki Drola Penshir Sangye Drupa Shok. So, I should keep it on. You just get a mug for the camera every once in a while. Hey Ben, you should keep it on, just mug for the camera every once in a while. Like turn over and like blue steel it. These are pretty easy questions this morning. So give the definition of a contradiction. It had two parts.
They have to be different?
Not the same.
Different and not the same.
No, it's not it.
Is there an example of something?
Different but same.
Not
Things which are different of which being, and then you have a shitan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's being different, and also you can't find anything which is both.
Right. Oh. That's a better way to put it.
Yeah. What is the classical example of two contradictory things? I did have a question for Gesla this morning.
No.
Okay. Did a Sanskrit?
I've been yelling at people trying to ask me questions all morning.
What is, okay, we'll move on. I'll ask these guys questions.
Yeah.
I'll ask them questions. What is the classical example of two contradictory things?
I like Doc McDuck.
That's closer.
Okay.
Yeah. So working things and unchanging things.
Okay.
Yeah, at least that's the one they give in the collected topics tradition. And Sanskrit for Ngopo?
Pava?
Yeah. Yeah. And let's see, what was it? Nitya. Yeah. Nitya. All right. What's a classical example of something which is such that to be it is to automatically be a working thing? Specific example. Totally. That's it. Yeah, that's a classical example they give. Coffee cup. Like I said, they're pretty easy this morning. It's more so, the wrong Luke section is the part that you want to memorize if you want to have all your ducks in a row. Yeah. So that's kind of why I started putting these down, just because you can be more specific when you're talking with somebody about something.
Memorize the other sections for derailing other people.
Totally. Yeah, for being able to see like contradictions in what other people are saying. Totally. So it's back on you, Geshla.
Wait. Take a few more minutes.
Okay.
So anyways,
Up on walking bass line. Yeah.
Walking bass.
She's sleeping. Yeah. She's sleeping. Yeah, she has been.
I have her like a sleeping baby.
Yeah. Totally, she's been doing pretty good. Past 3 nights. Thank you. Yeah, I had a radio show for a while. Actually, I did. Yeah, I had a radio show for about 2 years. Yeah. It's pretty small. Right now, I gotta find some music.
I'm not sure it would be
Fair enough.
something
Mm-hmm.
Might be the Grateful Dead and Fish.
That's exactly what I used to play.
Make me angry. I'm okay.
You're very happy, but-
Yeah.
I
was thinking about starting
I'm
a-
coming. I'm coming.
I was thinking about starting a pirate radio station in Uray, getting a transmitter, and putting it out. Yeah.
Sedona desperately needs a pirate radio station.
Really? Yeah. I mean, the transmitters are pretty small. You can fit them in like a Pelican case, you know? Yeah. Just a really, like, kind of more beefy, like, yeah, rigid. Yeah, but they're like traditional. When you think of hard shell cases, like they've been the go-to kind of, you know, they've traditionally had. What's that? Oh, maybe. Nuh-uh, I wouldn't support those guys. Somehow 10% of my purchase is going to end up in Cheney's pocket. Mm-hmm.
That's just brightened up my life.
We can just watch whatever this is.
Or not.
Oh, sorry. Something's not working. Let's try again.
Yes, I was watching.
This is where we are, right? Am I right?
1227. Yeah. We should
Okay,
be.
go.
Mhm.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's no problem.
I'm on my last homework. The manual is 759 pages.
Yeah.
Slacking off.
Yeah, usually it gets to 800. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Bye.
Pompa damen gawa damen gawa tseni yete kye pompa damen gawa dan tam mi de dan
Oh, man,
kye
I was
yang
having
yen
such a
pompa
good
damen gawa yembe shi tamba yepa ka rong devi che.
I was having such a good morning.
Oh man.
Okay. Baba Name, oh my God. Baba Name Gawa Dan Gawa Name Gawa Tani Yete. There is a definition of that thing which it doesn't contradict what does contradict what doesn't contradict a coffee cup. Because A, it is distinct from that which is contradictory to that which is not contradictory to a coffee cup. And B, it is also at the same time contradictory to what's not contradictory to a coffee cup.
You said distinct, but it says Tommy Day.
Yeah, that's another way to say it.
Hmm.
Why it says Kanru,
Not different?
The opposite, right?
Yeah, it would be not.
Tommy Day, not distinct.
Not.
I say, yeah, okay. It's not. Yeah, Gawa. Why it says Kanru? It has to be both, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Why didn't he put Nika?
Yes.
Lordy.
Oh, well, there are kind of two elements in the second part.
Yeah, but it's not like either element would satisfy it. You see what I mean? Isn't that true? Yeah, when you say Shitumba, there has to be two things. You see?
Mm.
Oh, but it's also because the definition is.
If he had said yang, as I suggested to him earlier, I don't know. I don't see the purpose of the Kanru. Kanru means either A or B.
Mhm.
Okay, so here's A. Here's A. Okay, we'll forget to take that out of the finished book.
Mm-hmm.
There's A. Okay, just that they're separate. They're separate things from each other. Okay, and here's B. There has to be one thing which is both.
Something which exists.
And that's what it means to be not contradictory, basically. Okay? So it has to be both. You can't say congruent. You see what I mean?
Yeah, but
If
that
he's-
needs to be contradictory, right?
It has, we basically just look at the last one, and that's what it has to be.
It's Nigawa, Gawa, Nigawa.
That thing which is not contradictory to is contradictory to what's not contradictory. But anyway, we still got to talk about a sheet turn, right? Either way, Gawa or Migawa.
Yeah.
Don't we?
Yeah.
I think so.
They still have to be separate, and either one thing can or cannot be both.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Whether you talk about contradictory or not contradictory, you got to have two parts.
Yeah.
So why he says karung either one?
maybe it's the case that if it's not contradictory, it doesn't have to be both?
No, because that's just, if they're not contradictory, they're, well, no, but then what's the point of saying they have to be separate?
Yeah. No point.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Chedo.
Chedo.
Requires further examination.
Yeah,
Chedo.
okay.
Are we in the whole presentation of this?
We are in Tsupapo, I think.
No, and
No?
wrong loop. Yeah.
Oh, it's just, I was just hoping.
So what did we just say?
What's that?
What did we just say?
Yeah, because there's
Figure
no
out how
tell.
it fits in?
No, he's been using Ganru a couple times. Here's another Ganru, here's another Ganru. But it just irritates me. I don't know why he's saying Ganru. Okay. I don't know what the Ganru is. Chedo. Well, when we get to translate to English, we'll think about it. Okay. Sometimes it cooks for a few months. By the way, your text is next up for catching up.
Mm-hmm.
Just so you know, I know it's been in line for a couple months now. Okay, go.
Ngô bộ đàn trâu ấy chỉ ní yết đê, ngô bộ đàn đắc chiếc trâu đàn ngô bộ chế vụ khang rung khang shik ngô bộ mê nã kia mê cơ bà tê mê chư.
Good. You see, this kangrung has sense.
Okay.
This is a good kangrung.
Yeah.
Okay, you have two options. Okay, you got two options here. So when we're defining to have a connection or a relationship with a working thing, which can sometimes mean just anything.
Mm-hmm.
So bhava can be translated two different ways. Ngopo can be just thing, or it can be working thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to see which makes more sense in the sentence, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Normally it's working thing in a Tibetan text, okay? Unless you're translating something like your text, then ngopo might be used for bhava as generally ch, as existing thing. So you got to be careful. You got to be careful not to use working thing in Sanskrit translations, for example. Okay.
Yeah,
translations
totally.
from Sanskrit.
Totally.
But it could be working things. So you got to, okay. So anyway, there's two requirements for something to have a connection with another thing, okay? And the first requirement has two parts.
Mm-hmm.
So 1A, 1B, and then 2.
Yeah.
So 1A, 1B is either that relationship is one of identity or one of cause and effect. Give an example of identity.
We're such a you
car and
said
Chevrolet. Yeah, to be a Chevrolet
working thing coffee
is
cup.
to be a car. So Chevrolets are related to cars, but they don't result from cars. Okay. Then the second kind of relationship is, logic and morning headache. Cause and effect. Okay. So when you're defining whether or not something has a relationship with another thing, either it's a relationship of identity, or 1A, either it's a relationship of identity, or 1B, it's a relationship of cause and effect. And here's the second requirement of the definition of relationship, which is very, very important, okay? If you take away that thing, then the other thing must disappear. If you take away cars, Chevrolets disappear. If you take away logic, no more heading, unless another person comes up. Okay, got it? And
Yeah.
I think that's the first time we've hit Drawa.
In this text.
Yeah, we are studying what? We're on the subject.
Contradictions and
Contradictions and relationships.
Yeah, relationships.
And thank God, it looks like we're out of the contradictions forest. And now we are entering the relationships forest, which is kind of more interesting and more, it's got more rasa. Are you comfortable, Angelica?
Got more flavor.
Are you okay? Okay. By the way, welcome
Got a little
to
bit more flavor.
Welcome to the higher realms.
I'm confused about relationships.
Was it
now.
an
I
insult?
thought, so if working thing has a relationship with car,
No, it doesn't. Cars have a relationship with
With working things.
working thing
Yeah,
has
that's
a
what I was confused about too. So it's one way.
It can be both way if the sets are synonymous.
Yeah, or
Like
you can't. No.
Vitakpa and Duce.
So cheese don't have a relationship with J-Docs?
Yeah, so it's
No.
right.
Although a chi can be a chedok of the chi-chi.
He's gonna take
Right.
No, she
Rick
does
Chi,
have a
for
relationship
example.
with J-Dot, doesn't it? Working thing
No.
has a relationship with car because. So you're saying car has a relationship with working thing. So then if you take
Yeah,
away working
that's
thing,
true.
then cars can't exist.
That's true.
Mm.
If you take away cars, working things don't disappear.
So if you take away the
Exactly.
thing that has the relationship,
Oh.
then.
Oh, it says
Then
absence of
they-
one.
But it says the absence of nopo.
Say again. I don't understand.
Working thing has a relationship with car because if you take away working thing, then you would.
Oh,
take
kill
away
here
car.
means
Uh,
that thing which is connected to Ngopo, like car. Kill means it, but he didn't mention it yet. He didn't mention the member of the set in
But it
this.
says if not nopo, right? If you take away nopo.
If you take away all working things,
Yeah.
car will also have to go away.
Yeah.
That's
so
all it
car is
says.
The thing that,
Yeah, he didn't mention an example. He just said a thing which is connected to working thing. An entity, an existing entity which is connected to working
It
things.
doesn't pass the first test. Then.
Yeah.
I mean.
That's all.
because
He
it's
didn't
not
give an
identity
example.
and it's not
But you can
cause
think of car. So the definition of a car which is connected with working things is either to be a car is to be a working thing, or if you have a working thing, the car will result from it, which is not the correct choice.
okay, so that's
And
that which is
if you
either,
take away
yeah.
all working things, then car, either as a category or as a result, should have to go away.
So when we say in Buddhism then that a thing has a relationship with something, we're saying that it is either the chi or the gyu.
Exactly.
Right.
The Chedok
not
one.
the
The
Jedok.
Chedok.
Or the chi or the gyu, you can say that. Yeah.
It has to be
that's-
the chi or the gyu,
exactly.
necessarily
That's
not
true.
the Jedok or the
Yep.
Jebu.
Yep.
Shoot, I didn't know.
Okay. Now, 1229.
Hey,
It seems like it would go both ways.
Talk amongst yourselves.
until this moment.
1229.
1229 ngopo dan jawa la yena ni yete ngopo dan dak chik drill dan ngopo dan ten jun drill ni yebecher.
Okay, so to have a relationship with a working thing, there are two possibilities, okay? We can divide it into two possibilities. Either to be it is to be a working thing, and please don't say connected with the singular selfness, or something, okay?
Yeah.
Bad translation. It took many years to get it straight, so please don't corrupt the many years of work. To be it is to be the working thing. That's all. Don't say it has a connection of self-alility. Nobody will understand. Okay, so if you have a relationship with working thing, either to be you is to be a working thing, or you have a dependent originating connection with working thing, or you could say you have a cause and effect relationship. Okay. Got it?
That's that which shares a cause and effect relationship with working things.
Yeah, but we know from the downstairs class about dependence, there's three kinds. And only
a relationship of dependence.
the first
with
one
cause-
is cause and effect.
shares it.
But don't forget we're in a lower school, which helps a little bit, but not really, because they do accept a dependent origination, which is the parts of the whole. Okay? Like the handle and the coffee cup. Okay, so anyway, we're not going there. Here he means cause and effect, okay? Because those are the two classic kinds of relationships. Either to be you is to be it, or if you're it, then you cause the other thing. Or without the cause, you can't happen, okay? Yay! I'm just happy we're out of Gyowa. I'll take anything.
Ngopo dan dak chik drill gitse ni yete ngopo dan dak ni chiki gone ta de ngopo mena kye me gupe de yembecher.
Yeah, this is important for our translation of this term. So this is probably the most important sentence in your text, this term. Here's the definition of what it means to have a connection of identity. To be a Chevrolet is to be a car. So what's the definition of that relationship? And it's kind of funky because the first half might be okay on its own. But here we go. They are separate. Chevrolet is separate from car in the way that they share a relationship of identity, which is almost defines it to me already. They are separate, okay? In other words, we're not defining the relationship that cars has to cars. Okay? Because they're not separate. Okay? You can't talk about a relationship of a thing with itself. So that's what the first half is saying. Okay? So it has to be, he should have said just separate from working thing. But he said separate in a way that to be it is to be the other. He's already defined it in the first half of his definition, which to me is slovenly, not so slovenly, but it's already defined it. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. But to rub it in, say, you know, to make it more clear, the second requirement of a relationship of identity, to be a Chevy is to be a car, is that if you take away all the cars in the universe, you'd make good.
It could never exist either.
That member must disappear. Or equals that, okay? Which basically means synonym,
Yeah.
okay? All right?
Duck chick.
So that's, you know, you should memorize that. You should live with that.
Dun chick. Yeah.
Your first 3 lectures at Princeton about your text should refer to this, okay? Very important definition, okay? Basically, to be it is to be the other thing, and they're separate, which means synonyms are separate,
When I
okay?
totally, yeah.
All the fish in the world and all the ribka in the world are equal, have a relationship, yeah. Somehow they have a relationship.
Yeah. Well, when I'm wording it,
Excuse me.
Sorry,
And
yeah.
if you
I should shut
cancel all the cars in the world, it should disappear. Chevrolet should disappear. And by the way, the second half seems redundant, but helpful. Okay. Yes.
I was just wondering when I'm wording it, the first part, that which is different from a working thing with respect to being such that to be it is to automatically be different from a working thing. Okay? All right. Yeah, I just wanted to...
Which already defines it,
Yeah.
according to me. Now, very difficult.
Senshi ni yete pompate mecher.
Now, how can the senshi or the
The classical example.
classical example be a single thing?
He's referring to Nupo.
No, he says, no, that's no sense. He's supposed to be giving us a classical example of a relationship. And then he names a single coffee cup.
No, but the thing that he just referred to that he's getting a classical example of was as pertains Nupo. The sentence starts
No,
with,
there is an answer to my
there it is.
question.
Nupo don chik to-
No, he's defining what? He's not
Relationship.
defining a relationship. He's defining that thing which has a relationship
with Nupo.
with Ngopo. Okay, that's all.
Yeah, right, yeah.
It was a trick question. Okay.
Okay.
He's defining
That's
a
it.
thing which has a relationship with working things such that if it's it, it's separate from working things, and to be it is to be the working thing. And if you cancel all working things, you cancel it. Okay? And then he gives as an example, coffee cup, which is not a relationship, but that isn't what he was defining. I'm sorry, that's not what he was giving an example of. He was giving an example of something which had a relationship with working things. Okay, got it?
Could we say a classical example would be coffee cups, or do I have to the singular here?
I don't think it matters.
Okay.
A Chevrolet
Yeah.
car outside, parked
Chevrolets,
outside,
yeah.
or Chevrolets in general, there's still a subset of working things.
Yeah.
Okay.
When he's given an example, yeah, never mind.
Go ahead.
Ngopo dan tenjin drug
No, what
tini.
were you going to say? Give it a classical example, you mean?
Yeah, when he's given a classical example, don't you have to be positing, like,
A relationship.
yeah, like yeah.
That's what I just pointed out. See, you got to read Doa here.
with Ngopo. Yeah.
No, you got to read this word, Doa. You got to read this word Do as a thing which has a relationship with working things.
So
You have to
a
translate
coffee
it
cup.
as a
Really good.
thing which has a relationship with working things. You cannot translate it as
A relation.
a relationship
Yeah.
because the classical example is a coffee cup.
Okay.
And if
let's-
it was a relationship, there should be a coffee cup and something else because there have to be two things to have a relationship.
The parent.
It takes two to
totally.
tango. New idiom. Ask the Argentinian about tango. Tango. It takes two to dance, a certain Argentine dance. It's a very cool dance. You and Xiaoping should learn it.
The game of death. Yeah.
Can you tango? You know tango? You know you.
I didn't know that was a requirement.
Okay, so we finished defining the first kind of relationship, right? No, you're wrong. Thank God. We finished defining
What it means.
a thing which has a relationship, the first relationship. Got it? We finished defining a thing which has the first relationship.
Okay.
Guess what we're going to do next? We're going to define
A relationship of
A
dependence. Yeah.
a thing which has
thing.
the second relationship.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Which has a second, okay.
Yeah, because from
The other perspective.
No, we had two parts up above.
we're going to define a thing which has the second kind of relationship,
Right, right. 'Cause it was
which is what kind of relationship?
Cause and effect.
Cause and effect, which he calls tendo. A some pratitya samutpada relationship. Okay, a dependent origination relationship, which does not pass the waiter test. Okay, what's the waiter test? Shopping. That's your job. What's the waiter test?
To make sure that our translation is understandable and
By
showing it to the waiter or waitress in the restaurant to see if they understand. If they don't understand, then don't use it.
now, if you come to my cafe, if it ever opens.
And you're there.
Yeah. Yeah. That astronomer used to serve the coffee every Saturday and Sunday.
Wow.
You know, the most famous astronomer around, he would serve you coffee. And he wouldn't tell you who he was. And it was really fun.
Like most waiters.
I would like to, but I don't know if we can open yet. We're still having county problems. Okay. Ngopo dan tenjin dakiteni yete. What? There is a definition
There's a definition of being dependent of something which is
of something
of something which is dependent
has
upon
a-
working things.
which has a dependent origination connection
Yeah.
with working things
Can I
or
say
relationship.
shares a relationship
You
of
can say
dependence?
that. That's fine. Yeah, share is fine. Because it has a dependency causally with working things.
Okay.
Okay. Right? Now he broke down ten jung, ten ne jungwa. So your translation has to break it down.
It comes from.
Yeah.
Has a relationship.
You can
with
say
from-
they depend and they have babies, as you know. Mooncake dad. And secondly, here's the easy part. Ngopo mena.
If there were no working things at all,
Yeah.
then it could never exist either.
This is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Could you say the first one again, please?
Boy, chin looks chill.
That which comes about.
Chin
That
And-
which comes about through relying on working thing. But I'm not comfortable with that.
The second part.
No, the.
It's not that working things cause coffee cups.
That which comes about through relying upon
Maybe
working
it's
things.
just
and
able.
sort of if it were
You
no
could
working
say
things,
working thing, get out of it.
Well, but he's not going to give a coffee cup as the answer.
Well, let's go see his example. The second half is the easy part, which we tend to enjoy more. If you canceled all those causes, you would cancel the result. It would have to be that way. Okay, got it?
Yeah.
But Ngopo's uncomfortable for me. Anyway,
But is it only uncomfortable because
I don't think Ngopo as a category can be a cause.
Well, you know, they say that it can.
Who's they? Okay, let's go.
I had this debate in the monastery. the other
Let's.
day. What does a
Sinchi.
Ngopo do? And no one could tell me what, if Ngopo is Dunjin Nupa, then what the hell it can do. And no
Yeah,
one could tell
okay.
me.
All right.
Ngopo as a general.
Next, Senshi.
Yeah.
Senshi.
真心你要對我陪住六十鐘或者咩嘢？
What's now the important phrase here is chilo suchunga. It should be on your next homework. Okay, Adam.
A working, what comes just after a working thing?
Yeah. What does Geshe-la like to call it?
The
A
big-
flop, yeah,
the
flopped
thing
over
that
into.
flops over
Yeah.
into the okay.
Yeah.
Chilo suchunga.
Yeah.
It's also the word
Lo-
for flipping
lo-
a pancake.
Now it's the thing
Okay.
that flips over.
Yeah,
from-
Yeah.
yeah. Itself in the moment
Yeah,
before.
the thing which flips over from now you have to say a working thing, okay? You have to say like a coffee cup. So the next moment of a coffee cup or
Comes-
whatever
That's good,
whatever
So you're saying working thing's not a working
What's another way to say whatever results from a coffee cup?
What comes just after the moment? Just no.
I don't think it has to be just after, because something that happened 10 years later because of something today would still
what
have
comes
this-
the moment after?
Yeah.
You can say
No, I don't think it has to be.
Subsequent.
Subsequently,
moment.
which occurs. But how do you imply relationship in English?
But I thought you wanted a word that.
You say subsequently, yeah.
I'm not satisfied yet.
How about entailed?
Subsequent is the essence of the thing, though.
What's our,
It has to occur subsequently because this thing occurred now.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Whether it's 10 years from now or whether it's in the next millisecond.
Another word to show the connection.
I would, yeah.
Immediate consequence.
But it's not immediate, you see? It could happen a kalpa later.
This is gonna.
Subsequent consequence, that's two.
Yeah, that's fine. A
syllable
subsequent
words.
consequence is okay. I mean, let's leave it at that for now, but you got to work on it.
Yeah, because this is gonna affect our translation of cause and effect that we did earlier.
Yeah, the point is for chilosa chuma, anything that results later. That's all. Okay, but you kind of can't use a word for result.
That's kind of just part of the definition.
Yeah, so what did you say? Consequence. That's nice. That's pretty good. But we don't have to decide now. We can decide when it's in the afternoon 2 months from now. Okay. Ngopo shen la ring da.
The same pattern follows for all other working
Good,
things.
nice. Perfect.
Great.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. Hey, we're coming down the home stretch. Okay, if we finish the next section, he's done with his first book. But we're going to delay publication until we get a few normal books out, so that people don't stop buying the book.
Yes.
No, I think we
Not
have.
another mixed nuts book.
Not last one.
Well, at least we're going to put out the Heart Center book and one other one. Who's that? Oh, Dr. Wu's book,
Yeah, would
which
be.
technically finished before his.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, so
We're
if
gonna
we
make
if
them
we're
flying with- yeah.
we finished it a couple days ago.
We're gonna make them really
He beat
flying
you
with
by
pictures.
1/10 of a second in the race.
Yeah, he was off by one.
Okay, last section of the last section.
All right.
I hope there's no more Gelwas.
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck.
Oh, there is some more Gelwas. All right, go ahead. We're gonna be the
Hela.
anti-Gelwa school, which means
Here we start the third part of our presentation, which is where we further refute anything else, or we rebut the guy's
Rebuttal.
wrong assertions. Yeah.
what's rebuttal mean in English? Yeah, to come back and fight again. To come back and the lawyer gives a presentation,
Yeah.
and then the other lawyer gets to come back and question the witness again, according to what the first lawyer questioned the witness. That's called rebuttal or something. Okay, here we go. Kajingnari. It doesn't have anything to do with buts.
Rebut.
Okay.
Kachignare yopada mepa ni churchen tade ching shitama misipa yimbartal kawa yimbecher kawa. Kawa.
Wow. This is pretty good. Let's consider.
Existing.
Let's consider the two of existence and non-existence.
Perfect.
Yeah.
There must not be possibly a shitin of them,
Okay. Why do you say that?
and they must be separate.
Okay.
Okay? There
Yeah.
must not be one thing which is both,
Tade ching.
and they must be separate, because those are the two requirements to be contradictory.
Mm-hmm.
There must not be one. Yeah.
Okay?
Which is both and separate.
They must be separate, A.
Yeah.
B, there must not be one thing which is both. That's the definition of contradiction. Okay, got it? So we say take existence and non-existence. They must be separate entities, and there must not be one thing which can be both, because everybody knows to exist is to contradict not to exist. But there's a problem here. Cannot be separate because one doesn't exist. Perfect. The Chinese Abhidharma scholar, ancient Abhidharma master.
There's no one
Kabake.
thing which is both.
Wow.
Kabake, just because the two of existence and non-existence are contradictory,
No,
doesn't.
don't go that. Don't make it so complicated.
Okay.
Just translate Kabake.
Oh yeah. Well, your reason doesn't match your assertion.
Who's saying kabake?
We.
No, they are.
They are.
You're the one who said it had to be.
Yeah.
You're the one who said it had to be. What? You're the one who said if they're contradictory, A, they must be separate entity. B, what was the second part? Oh, yeah, there's no one thing
But
which
there's
is
no
both.
one. Yeah.
It's impossible. You're the one who said that, not me. You're the one who said if two things contradict each other, A, they must be separate entities. And B, there must not be one thing which is both. You're the one who said that. Who's talking?
He is.
The other guy.
They're different.
Don't blame me. You're the one who gave this definition.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's saying makyap to his own.
No.
No, he's saying the implied between these two is makyap.
He's saying we can't.
Remember, we
yeah,
can't say makyap.
Okay.
We can't say one doesn't mean the other because we're the ones who defined it that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, this is where the abbot of Tashitumbo gave up
Yeah.
against my classmate. Geshe Tutunichen's temple master teacher with no teeth and the puppies. This is the question and where he gave up. Okay. And it's in the Katrin book. Okay, anyway, Duna.
Dana yapa dang mepa ni church and yapa tal tade yimbe chir serna.
Yeah, so to this tell, and then he says cheer, we say makya. And he says, don't say it doesn't follow. You're the one who said that they had to be separate things if they were contradictory. Don't say it doesn't follow. You're the one who said it does follow. Then we change our answer. We say, oh, it's not the case that they are separate and there's not possible that there's one thing which is both. Okay? We say, yeah, you're right. They are separate and there is not possible one thing which is both. We say, duh.
Duh.
We agree. Now we agree. What? We agree that existence and non-existence are A, separate, and B, there's no one thing which is both. We agree. Then he says, oh, if you agree, then let's take Yopa and Mepa. Let's take these two guys.
Existence and
non-existence. Yata.
They do
So
exist.
they exist, right? Why? They're
Because
separate.
they're different. Yeah,
entities.
because they're separate
They're separate entities.
Yeah.
Got it?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a good question.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows, to have dinner and not have dinner is contradictory. Right? Okay?
Yeah.
Uh,
Right.
oh boy, this is a great answer.
Aren't we in trouble if
He has never used this answer.
Yeah.
Okay?
Mm.
And he's saying, lend debt means what?
It's an answer.
You should answer.
Yeah.
You should answer. Give the answer that the way you have put things together is faulty.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
System's stupid.
No, that the Jorlug, how you've put this syllogism together is faulty,
So,
and he doesn't help us beyond that.
if I was to say this is an answer of someone applying a system which is very wrong.
No, it's not Luke Jor, it's Jor Luke. The way you put your syllogism together is faulty.
Okay.
There's something wrong with his syllogism.
So Jorluk means.
And then he goes on to the next subject. Jorluk means how you put it together. Jorwa is a synonym for a syllogism. Okay? A connected thing is a synonym for a syllogism.
Got it.
Then he says there's a problem with how you've connected your syllogism. And he's punning on Jor. Okay? Your Jorwa, the Jorwa of your Jorwa is Kyunchen. There's problems with the way you put together your put together,
Faulty.
which is a synonym for syllogism.
Kinchin.
Okay. Kyunchen means, faulty.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kin problem.
Demba
Yeah.
is problematic.
Yeah, that would be.
And then he leaves you with that and he runs to the next thing. Thank you so much. And I'm happy because he gets out of Gawa now.
We
For the
already had
moment.
the answer from Dear
It might be that his use of mepa is ambiguous. Okay. A thing which doesn't exist and non-existence is a separate thing. And what my classmate proved to the abbot of Tashi Humbo is that non-existence exists. Yeah, a non-existent thing doesn't exist. But I'm talking about non-existence as a concept, which exists. Okay? So I would say Kyun Chen, his syllogism is faulty because he's reading non-existence as a coffee cup which is not here. But we mean non-existence as a category, which does exist, and if it didn't exist, then you would grow rabbit's horns.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? If non-existence didn't exist, then you should go, sharpen your rabbit horns, your horns. Okay, got it? Because they don't not exist. Because non-existence doesn't exist. Okay? So he's, what do you call it when you use a term two different ways? He's equivocating the word mepa. Mepa can mean a thing which doesn't exist, but mepa can also mean non-existence taken as a category which does exist. Because if it doesn't exist, then existence doesn't exist. Yin, yang. If you take away the yang, you don't have yin, you don't have a yang.
There's also some ambiguity in the way that he's put them together because it's a little like he talks about kabung ni, right? He's almost treating them as a single object as opposed to saying consider yupa, right? It's gelwa with mepa. He as a tel, he's not saying the tel is, it's a thing which is separate. He's kind of talking about these two objects as one thing.
He didn't say Nipa.
He said ni.
Well, he is. He is talking about them as one thing.
Oh, yeah.
He is talking about them as one thing.
Right, which is
Yin yang.
kind of a weird way to put together the syllogism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess you could speculate about what's wrong with his
It's
syllogism.
a darn weird way to draw that thing.
But if you're talking about relationship, I would think by definition you're not talking about one thing.
But he didn't do that previously. When he talked about a relationship, he mentioned the thing and then said it has this relationship or doesn't have this relationship as the tell, as the assertion, after speaking of the thing.
By the way, is this tell, would you say de or not? If you say, if two things are separate, do they both have to exist?
Ooh.
Yeah, this part is correct.
Mm-hmm.
This part is correct. Ya tao, non-existence and existence, Chechen. Let's take non-existence and existence. They must both exist, right?
No.
Why? Because they're tade, they're separate entities. That part is true. When you say tade, separate, which we had before, I think, it must mean separate entities.
We have, yeah.
You can't say rabbit's horns are separate from rabbits or something like that.
Was it
Because one doesn't exist.
Chick
You
Dong
can't
Tade?
share. No two things can share a relationship unless both of them exist.
So does the pair of a rabbit and a rabbit's horns exist?
No.
Well, then the pair of yupa and mepa don't exist.
No, because you're talking about one thing which doesn't exist. I'm talking about the category of non-existence, which defines existence.
So the category you're saying exists.
It's an empty set.
Yes. If it didn't, then rabbit's horns would sprout on
So
everybody.
mepa is yupa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Category of non-existence.
Yeah.
Totally.
Mepa
Can't.
is
By definition.
an existing thing.
Just like you just said mepa is dakpa.
So, but you said
Okay.
a little bit ago
Huh?
that we, meaning the people in this room,
Yeah.
or the author,
Okay.
is saying that non-existence is a category, and that
Well, that's what I'm.
the kachik is saying that it's a non-existent thing. So
Right.
if the kachik is saying it's a non-existent thing, then you wouldn't just do that thing, because it wouldn't make sense.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Wouldn't do what thing?
1238, right? Because there's not an existing
No,
and an existing.
No, he has to be saying his mepa in this 1238. He has to be thinking of a rabbit's horn.
You wanna give me a member of that set?
He has to be thinking of a rabbit's horn. He has to be. Okay.
Yeah, it's not a set because it has no members.
Yeah, it's not a general set.
It is.
Okay.
It's not
Then how
because it
can you
has
say
no
you're
members.
telling?
There's many kinds of lacks of self-existence in this room. There are many lacks of self-existence in this room.
Lacks of self-existence exist.
Yeah, that's what I'm
So
saying.
they're not mepa.
There are many categories of.
But wouldn't you have
Yeah,
to give
they are Rangshin mepa.
specific
So Rangshin
instances?
mepa is yupa?
Exactly.
So Rangshin Mepa.
Or else there would be a two-headed purple
Rangshin
elephant
Mepas.
crushing us right now.
Right, which is an example of Mepa?
What's an example of Mepa?
Two-headed purple elephant.
Yes.
Okay, so two-headed purple elephant is an example of the category Mepa?
You can say that.
Okay, so everything which is Mepa is Yupa.
Exactly.
Okay, so nothing is Mepa because everything is Yupa.
If Mepa couldn't be Yupa, then there would be no Mepa.
So Mepa and Yupa are not.
Then all the Yupas would also be
contradictory.
Mepa.
They're not contradictory then, because everything that is Mepa is Yupa.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so they're not even Gawa. They're not
No,
even
but the
contradictory
class of
categories.
Mepa is contradictory from the class of
The class which has no members?
I just gave you all the emptinesses in this room are members.
So the emptiness is Mepa.
Rangshin Mepa. Every Majimikan in history has called it Rangshin Mepa. Rangshin Mepa. It's one kind of Mepa. Anyway, let's go. You can go on this for a while, and it did happen that debate went on quite a while before the abbot took his hat off and bowed on the throne. And by the way, you can argue it both
Or
ways.
the hat again.
Okay, go. But it was an amazing sight to see this, the most senior monk in South India, take his hat off and say, I take my hat off to you, literally. And it was very moving that he was so modest and he had such integrity that he didn't pretend to win. So it's kind of amazing. Huh?
How did the other guy
He was kind of a funny guy. He would always study on his back, but like this. And he would always have an illegal Walkman going with rock and roll.
How did the abbot take up?
I don't know, just like everybody was like, whoa, I think he was like, yeah, well, I told you. He was a very strange guy. He had moments of genius. Okay, go, Kachignari.
Kachignare, Dua Church and
To.
Tua Church and Tenjin Drill Yamba Town. Metan Tenjin Drill Yimbe Chir Serna.
Yeah, let's take Tua. Smoke that comes from a fire. Okay? It must be the kind of connection where one thing comes from another. Because it has that connection
Yeah.
with fire. It shares that connection with fire. It must be that connection because it shares that connection. Yes or no?
No.
No. It's not. It is not the connection because the connection requires two things.
As the
Okay? Got it? It is.
You share.
And by the way,
shares a relationship.
He's going to say, well, then it's not Dendo. Then it's not an example of dependent origination. He's going to come back with that, no doubt. Yeah, there he goes. Dena.
Dana, Tua Church and
We say makyat just because it has a
a relationship
connection of
of
cause and
dependence.
effect with fire doesn't mean it is the fact that things have a cause and effect relationship. Okay.
That
Dana.
it is.
Do a church. If you
Tua
agree
Church.
that it is the cause and effect relationship, okay,
Yeah.
here to this tell right here. Oh, well then let's take smoke.
Yep. Tenjin Drill Mayimba Tao.
Good.
Dawa Mayimba
Which means he believes it. No, it's not the connection between things, cause and effect connection between things, because it's not a connection. The smoke is not a connection of cause and effect because it's not a connection.
'Cause it
There's
has no
two
relationship?
things. He's going to say, Tade Mayan, here it is.
Yeah.
Madrubna, if you disagree that it doesn't have a connection, let's take smoke. No, it's not a connection. It's not a relationship because it's not two separate things.
Because it's not different. Yeah.
Okay. And if you say that's not necessarily the case, just because it's not two separate things doesn't mean it doesn't have to be not a connection. We say, Makebna, Kabayavata.
It is to the case.
Yeah, it is to the case
Yeah.
because if there's a doa, Tade Yin Gu.
has to be said.
Yeah, if there's a relationship, The two things have got to be separate. There's got to be two separate things, and smoke is not two separate things. Smoke and
is
fire
not
are two
different.
separate things, and they do have a cause and effect relationship. But smoke by itself doesn't have is not a relationship, because it's not two separate things. Okay? Cool? Just nod. Okay. And then he says, it's not true that if it's a connection, there have to be two separate things there. He says, I disagree. And then we say,
Yeah, it is too true that if something shares a relationship, it must be different.
there must be two separate things
Yeah.
because
one, that which shares relationship
of identity.
such that to be it is to automatically be different.
Good.
And two, that which shares a relationship of dependence must also be different.
Yeah, all relationships must involve separate things because
This kind has
relationships of identity require separate things and relationships of causation require separate things. And that's the only two kinds of relationships there are in the universe.
that reason's easy.
Each of these reasons is easy.
Perfect.
So
Yay.
what new did we learn here? I'm just trying to figure out why he included this, because it's so, like, evident.
He took some greasy ones. The other guy took some greasy ones. Oh, probably because smoke is such a famous second half of a relationship.
So he's teaching us.
Yeah, du dengi lala chechen. Take a du dengi lala chechen. Mayete. Tua yobecha. Dun dengi lala chechen.
Dundegi la la la.
Take a mountain pass where you can see smoke from a distance.
Yeah, that's it.
Mayete.
There must be fire.
There must be a fire. Tua yobecha.
Because there's smoke.
It's extremely famous. So what he's doing in his rebuttal, he's just hitting on a very, very common result that the opponent might assume involves a fire automatically.
All right. He's just
Okay.
trying to show us to be careful with our wording.
We're just saying
Don't assume.
don't assume there's a relationship just because someone has mentioned this loaded word called smoke, which we all know implies a relationship in the traditional literature.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
But when you hear smoke, don't think it's automatically a relationship. Okay?
Mm.
By the way, I mean, if you want to get technical, when you see the smoke, where's the fire that created that smoke?
It's gone.
It's already gone. Therefore, a thing which doesn't exist and a thing which does exist share a relationship.
Oh.
That's what upsets Nagarjuna.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
That's what irritates Nagarjuna.
Yeah.
That's why Nagarjuna says something else must be going on.
Right.
The smoke must be coming from somewhere else than the fire. Because they cannot share a relationship, ever. No cause and effect can share a relationship. By the time they're caught, if the cause is there, the relationship, the result by definition has not occurred. And by the time the result occurs, the cause must be gone. And if you say, then are they tade?
No,
Then is the result separate from the cause?
no.
No, because the cause by definition is always gone.
Well, cause
That
is defined
cause.
by result. Result is defined by cause.
Right.
Yeah.
And so since they can't both exist at the same time, there's no such thing.
There's no
as a cause
tade.
or a result.
Yeah.
Yeah. That triggered wisdom, the book Wisdom. Okay. All right, stop here.
That's a good road.
What's the date?
Still waiting for the
18?
movie.
19?
19th.
19, 20. Let's just peek ahead. Dun, 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 dun. Uh-oh.
4.
Wait.
All right.
You have one more class?
That'll be a heavy class.
You have one more class?
One more class.
I propose we don't stop the class until he finishes his book.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Even if you have to pee after the following class. Or in your seat.
Or, yeah.
Okay? The day's
We're gonna
there.
have to move out of this room soon.
18th, right?
19th.
19th. Okay, sashimi.
Sashi Puki Jukshin Metok Tram Rirab Lingshi Nende Gyambadi Sangye Shingdu Mikte Ulwargi Drokun Namdak Shingla Drupal Shok Yidam Guru Ratna Mandala Gamniyatayami Gewa Di Gewo Kud Sunam Yeshe Sobzogshin Sunam Yeshe Lejungwe Damba Kunyi Topar Sho
Shogi Shmogi.
Shogi.
Who's up next?
Verbo Pala.
Nope.
Wasupandu.
Vasu Stanley